I know it's hard to believe when you look at me these days as a 70-year-old man with white hair that I used to have many lovers. In fact, I've had over 2,000 lovers in my life, and 750 of them was in England. Most of them I forgot what they looked like. In the summer, I used to go around on my bicycle, dressed as I did, like I do these days, well dressed. And the bicycle I had a it was in the design of the old policeman's bike from the 50s. And I used to stop next to a girl who was walking along at the time in a nice part of London like Kensington, and I would say, "Do you want a lift?" And they would stop to talk because they can see I'm dressed well. I'm not some sort of pervert. And yeah, they would jump on the back of the bike. I had a rather large seat, and I would perch on the end of the seat and take them home, have something to eat, and Bob's your uncle, as they say. But today I want to talk about, I've been married 3 times, and that was for legal reasons, nothing else. I don't believe in marriage because I'm not religious, you see. But she was 19 when I met her, and I was 39, so there was a 20-year difference. That isn't so much for me. I've gone up to 40-something years difference in the past, so yeah. And I find that age doesn't make a difference at all between people. If they get on well together, which I have with my girlfriends, it hasn't mattered at all. But this age thing only happens in England, really. If you travel out to Europe, it becomes more and more easy for girls to fancy me, even though I'm old. And then further you go, such as Asia, they prefer old men normally. Anyway, my second wife, when we got married, as I said, she was 19. And I didn't know at the time, when I met my 19-year-old wife, that my third wife was 3 years of age. Now, if someone had told me my future and that my third wife at the moment is 3 years of age, I wouldn't have believed it. But there we are. I actually met my third wife when she was about 22 years of age. And there was a 38-year age gap. It didn't make any difference at all. We got on really well. But my second wife, this is what it's all about. Today I'm talking about my second wife, the 19-year-old. She was an ex-gymnast, but she still was going to gymnastic classes because she was a physical person like myself. And I was virtually living in my roller skates. I was roller skating everywhere. And I used to fall asleep quite often in my roller skates. The only problem when you're roller skating so often like that, the feet can't breathe, and you get a cut between the small toe and the toe next to it. Athlete's foot, they call it. And that plagued me for years. Even after I stopped skating, it plagued me. So I couldn't go to gymnastic classes because my mother, like many mothers in the 50s, was given an injection to help her with her pregnancy, and all the babies born to those mothers suffered from a problem with the ears, the inner ear balance. So I could go on swings in the playground as a child, but I couldn't go on those roundabouts. I'd get so dizzy and so ill, I'd be ill for maybe a day or two even. But anyway, getting back to my relationship, this is what I'm talking about, my relationship with my second wife. We were together for 10 years. We had a pretty good time. I admit I did have sex with about 3 or 4 girls in that time. And once, when she was in bed and the other girl, her friend, best friend, was on the floor, sleeping on the floor, and I got out and had sex with the girl. So my poor girl, of course, like all my poor girls, have suffered because of my my sexual nature. And that's the reason why they've all left me. And I find myself alone these days. But after we split up after 10 years, we started seeing each other on a regular regular friendship. I'd pop around to her place and I might stay a night or maybe a few nights even. There wasn't any sex or anything, nothing like that. We were just good friends. And that's what I like about, if you have a sexual relationship with a girl and then you stop having that sort of relationship, you can be really close friends, I find. And I quite like that. Unfortunately, most of my girls hate me now because of my philandering ways, so hence the relationships I haven't got anymore. None of them want to see me again. But anyway, this one, it went on for, let me see, about 30 years I think it went on for. Oh no, 1 minute, 20, yeah. So we were together for 10 years and it went on for another 20 years near on. And we were good friends. As I said, we was going to see each other and I was going to see her. She didn't come to see me. I'd stay at her place and we would go out to lunch together at our favourite tea place in Kew, and we'd ride our bikes together because we was both physical, as I said. She never liked coming skating with me, which annoyed me a bit because I didn't have any friends to go skating with, you see. I just had to talk to people at the skate park, etc. And I couldn't go, as I said, to her classes, the gym classes, because of my dizziness. But anyway, apart from that, we got on really well. But one day she did tell me she has a hatred for me because of my philandering ways. And she was very badly hurt by them when we were together. I think I'm like a lot of men. Not like Paul McCartney, he's another type of, another kettle of fish, as we say. No, but like most men, I think we can have a love of one woman and yet we can gallivant around with other women for fun. For me, it gets boring if I'm with one woman only, because I know exactly how she thinks and what she says, and you know, there's no excitement. I think I'm constantly looking for a bit of excitement in life. Even though I'm getting older, I haven't really changed. I still like fast motorbikes, fast girls and fast cars. So eventually what happened is that the last time I saw her, she said on the phone, look, you can't stay the night. So I said, okay. And as soon as she said that, but we promised to see each other that day, to go out and have something to eat together at our favourite restaurant for lunch. But as soon as she said that and I put the phone down, I then I went onto the internet and booked a ticket home by bus. Bus is so cheap compared to the train. No wonder the trains are nearly empty when you jump on these things. But anyway, I arrived on time. We went to lunch. She drove as usual in her car, and as usual we used to have great fun together, always making jokes of each other and laughing our heads off. In fact, I would say it was more of a perfect relationship between us when we wasn't having sex over those 20 years than when we was having sex for the 10 years, because every so often you get into arguments, don't you? I remember one day she caught me because normally I would get up and walk away from an argument, whether I started it or she started it, because they're always over nothing, can't they? And one day I couldn't get up because she stood right over me as I was sitting in the chair, and she was going on and on and on, shouting away there at me and pointing the old finger, you know. And at the end, as soon as she finished shouting, I said, "The bitch speaketh." And as soon as I said that, she broke up laughing her head off, and of course it becomes contagious. So we both ended up laughing away. And she reminded me years later how funny that was. And it was really good. But so we had a good time. Every time we used to go to our favourite place to have lunch, we'd be laughing our heads off as she drove the car and having a jolly good time, and no arguments in the 20 years after our relationship. But the last time I saw her, she said, as I said, you can't stay the night. So we did go out and we had a great time as usual. And on the way back from the the restaurant, she said, do you want to come back to my place? I said, well, I can't. I've already booked a ticket on the bus going back. And she was really annoyed at that. Suddenly she wanted to see me. But I've never seen her since. She eventually cut herself off from me. She started not answer. She said, I can't answer. If I don't answer you, it's because I'm away. And I thought, that's ridiculous, because wherever you are, you're going to be on the internet. Anyway, eventually she said, look, as far as I'm concerned, you're part of my past, and I'm just putting you and everything else behind, and I'm going forward. Now, up to that point, I always felt that she was negative. Anytime I said anything which she didn't agree with, maybe about her, she would accuse me of putting her down, of being negative. But I don't see that. If someone sees something bad about me and they tell me about it, I then try to change it because I probably will agree. Such as my girlfriend, my third girlfriend, when I used to grab her to give her a hug, she would say, get off of me, your arms stink. And even though I don't have hairs growing under my arm, they do smell for some reason. And I have to, the only thing what kills the smell is not washing them. I could wash them all day, it won't help. The only thing that helps is putting some aftershave or something under there, and it just kills the germs, whatever it is. So, and just a reminder, if you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Thank you. So basically, her hatred for me has grown over the years, and that she can't see me anymore, doesn't want to see me anymore. And yet that woman suffers from loneliness because, just like me, she's cursed with the opposite sex, and she can't get a boyfriend that she loves. She has fallen in love with certain men, but they don't want her, for various reasons. And I've fallen in love with certain girls, and they don't want me because I'm a philanderer. Even though I've had relationships with over 2,000 girls, I'm actually aiming for 30,000. So I'm remaining positive, and hopefully I shall start creeping up as soon as I get a chance to move out of this bloody country. No sex, please, we're British. No, that comes from religion, by the way. Yeah, you don't think you're religious, you might not go to church, but all the ways you think about sex and everything and how dirty and disgusting, it all comes from religion. So your mind you have been brainwashed by religion. So yeah, this is what I want to say about my second girlfriend who left me. Often you hear about people who their daughter or son has been murdered, and they find out who the killer is, and after the killer's gone to prison, they've said that they're going to forgive the person. Well, I don't think they truly forgave the person. I don't believe that. What they've done is simply put behind them the hatred and the anger, because hatred and anger is like a circle. Imagine a circle of hate and anger, and each one feeds off of the other and just keeps on going. It never stops. You have to break the circle and stop hating and just basically say, okay, I accept what you've done. And that's what's happened with my girlfriend. It's just a hatred which has been going on for 20 years or more, until she just can't stand to see me anymore, ignoring all the good times we had. I mean, if you put together the amount of times I've been seeing other girls, we're probably talking about, I don't know, a few hours in 10 years. a few hours in 10 years. And so most of the time we had together was pretty good. We had similar likes. We loved dogs, and we had dogs and things, and we liked. We had the same food, getting takeaways and going to our favourite restaurants and things like that, and cycling everywhere and being very physical. And she told me after she broke up with me that she was trying to find someone like me who was a bit sophisticated, but intelligent at the same time, and a bit common. And she hasn't managed to find that. So, yeah, it's the hatred. I think a lot of us suffer this, where we allow the hatred to eat away at our relationships. And instead of pointing the fingers at other people constantly, we've got to point it at ourselves. This is what people don't do, especially men. Men are the worst. And especially those sort of men who are jealous. Jealousy is really evil, and I think all jealous men, as soon as they're found out to be jealous, and the girl can prove it by having a hidden camera and watching them rant and rage and maybe beat the girl up, I think that they should be able to show that to a court, and the person should be locked away for 10 years minimum, and maybe even life if they're that dangerous. Because these people won't change. Once they're out after 10 years, they go straight back to being jealous again. But then you can lock them up again, you see, and this time throw the key away. Second time around, jealousy, violence, etc., throw the key away. But how do I feel about all those girls that I've had sexual relationships? I love them all of them. I wouldn't have had a sexual relationship with them, even if it was an hour or a day or etc. I love them all. But unfortunately, girls only love me when they get really deeply involved with me. And as soon as the love goes, or the feelings go, the connection to me, they don't want to see me anymore. Quite sad, really. That's why I'm thinking later on I'm going to, if I can, I'm going to foster 2 girls, because I like girls, I don't like boys, foster 2 girls from China at the age of 4 and 5 and bring them up as my daughters. I wouldn't like to bring my own children into this world because I've got bad blood, bad memory, and I'm a commoner, and I don't want kids who are badly behaved, and I certainly don't want boys because I was a real hassle as a child, as a boy. Boys are just too much trouble, especially if I had boys. Well, I hope I've got you thinking about what I've said, especially about relationships, and for both of you in a relationship to start looking at yourself and stopping the hate, the circle of hate, and start to realise that when you look at a relationship, it's not just looking at one side of it. You've got to look at the whole, take it as a whole, and it's a lot of give and take, basically. A lot of turning a blind eye in a relationship. Nothing's perfect in this world, so don't expect your relationship to be perfect. There will always be something. Maybe he slurps when he drinks his tea. That can be annoying. It really can. Slurping. Or something else like that. Or throwing... It's one thing what annoys me. If girls keep on throwing their clothes on the floor and they never pick it up to put it away in the cupboard or something. And I'm going around constantly picking up their clothes. So, yeah, you've got to find a level there for both of you. Don't forget, in a relationship, it's about 2 people. Not just one, it's 2. So you've got to back down at times and accept the other person's way of doing things if you love them. And love is all about wanting them to be happy.